So please start, sir. We are live. You can start, sir.
Okay, sure. Hi, good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to this session on AI for AI. My name is Mani Madhukar, and I'm part of global university programs at IBM Research. I'm basically here today to talk about one of the services on a cloud, on IBM Cloud that's offered, and that basically is about auto AI. And we'll also get to know about what are the various programs that you can leverage while being in academia, whether you're a professor or you're a student, how you can leverage the services offered there. Let's get it started. And today I'll look to cover, I'm sure most of you will be familiar with, like, why do we need AI? There are tons of use cases which are out live right now as we talk, right? So we'll just try to grab a bit of that, right? And then we'll talk about the various opportunities and challenges in adoption of AI, particularly post-pandemic, how we are looking at that. We'll also talk about how the traditional AI approach unfolds, right, from a research point of view. And then we will subsequently go to how auto AI can really make a difference in that, from that point of view. We'll see a demo, of auto AI in case you already are registered on IBM Cloud, you have access to IBM Cloud. That will be great. You can replicate the steps along with me. If not, towards the end of this, I'll talk about how you can get access to IBM Cloud, how you can get actually, you can get your hands dirty with auto AI services and all, right? So let's get started, right? And let's first try to understand why do we actually need to know AI, right? So there is a lot of, and not just AI, right? So many other technologies. Now, as we know, if you look around you, you'll really find a lot of businesses have evolved or changed in last maybe like 5 years, 8 years or so, right? Maybe 10 years to be on a safer side, right? So there has been a lot of evolution which has happened in terms of how we do businesses, or how businesses have really groomed, or they have evolved from nowhere, right? So cabs have been there for ages, right? Hospitality industry has been there for ages. Hotels have been there, right? But the way Olas and Ubers changed the business, phenomenal, right? The way Airbnb changed the hospitality industry, again, it's great, right? This is what we basically talk about as disruption, and technologies are the major reason which fuel this disruption, right? If that is the case, we should really try to know which are those technologies which have really been instrumental in giving us or having this digital transformation. Now, this has been a survey from IDC, and if you see this, though a dated infograph, these numbers will anyways go up, right, if you talk about in 2021. But if you see there, cloud has a phenomenal reason for the change or for the digital transformation that has happened. AI, ML, blockchain, big data analytics, mobility, IoT, are the other contributing elements to this digital transformation, which has really changed the face of the business in past few years. It's really important for our point of view, right? Whether we are as a part of an academia or we are part of any industry, it's really imperative for us to align ourselves to one or more of these technology areas in terms of working on that, right? So that we can actually develop the skills on that. And hence, AI is important, right? So if you ask me the reason. This is another infograph which basically talks, from data which has been taken up from an MIT Sloan study, right? Which basically talks about, right, how it has been, where we are from AI adoption point of view. But typically, enterprise clients consider AI to be a very strategic priority for them, right? And if you see, most of the adoption are basically from between modernization to insight-driven adoption of AI, right? and we are moving towards what we call as transformation, creating new business models because of this evolution of technology, right? Now, if you see today, there are so many new business models which have evolved. Okay, I'll give you one simple example. It's not directly related to AI, but then it's a very good example, right? Sometime back, one of the insurance company, vehicle insurance companies in India, actually came up with a provision saying, instead of buying a complete 1 year insurance policy, why don't you only buy an insurance policy when you actually hit the hit the road, right? When you are actually taking your vehicle out on the road, why don't you just dynamically buy it, right? So see the value there. Now, because of pandemic, most of the vehicles weren't off the road, right? They were not flying on the roads. So all that investment which happened in terms of buying the insurance policy for those vehicles was actually a waste if you ask from a subscriber's, or from a user's point of view. Had this been a provision wherein, let's say, tomorrow is a day off, or I can actually travel through some other place, and I'm traveling to some other place based upon some, because the COVID restrictions have been taken away, then I can only take I can dynamically take a, policy only for tomorrow, or maybe 1 week, or maybe 15 days. Consider another scenario. I don't stay in India, let's say, right? I only come here only for some 2 months, 3 months when I'm on vacation. Why do I actually need to pay for the entire insurance policy for a year, right? Why not I just pay it for those 2 months when I'm actually, in the country, and I'm look to travel, or I look to, ride my vehicle. So that's where the new business models and those definitions evolve. Similarly, insurance policy based upon driving behavior of a particular person. That's again a new business model. So there, right? It helps you in evolving new business models, right? And of course, right, enterprises today talk about, they have got enormous data. They're sitting on a pile of data, both structured and unstructured, right? But the problem is, how do they leverage that data is a very big question mark. There still is a question mark, right? They're still trying to figure out, and they do not understand the data actually required for getting AI-based insights. And there would be no AI actually without an information architecture. So it's really important to understand the information architecture place, right? From various surveys, again, this is an MIT Sloan study, right? 94% of enterprise customers are committed to multi-cloud, right? And 74% are looking to AI for modernizing their apps. Now, I'm sure, post-pandemic, you would have seen a drastic change in the way services have been offered on various platforms that we regularly subscribe to, right? AI has become a mainstay in all of these apps that we use today. And it's really important, right, that we understand and we basically overcome the lack of data when we talk about utilizing AI in an algorithm manner, right? So these are just a couple of reasons, right, where we see how AI has been adopted in post-pandemic, how it's been really impacted. This is based on a senior leadership party investment survey 2020. These excerpts are from that survey, which basically talks about a few data points like how much has the adoption really scaled up, right? Almost like 55% are looking to put into production post 2019, right? And a lot of spending is going to be in this technology area. It's really important that we understand this, and we take AI to market in a more matured manner, right? And then we will definitely be able to appreciate the value that the technology brings to us. Again, a couple of more use cases how AI is getting implemented in various sectors, be it training, be it online training, or be it how large enterprises are buying more AI-based solutions, how AI is actually being part of new age security and trust, and how hybrid multi-cloud support actually has become a priority for all the cloud providers, right? This is again a part of the overall strategy, right? Having said that, adoption of AI is, does comes with its own set of challenges, and most of you would be familiar with that, right? Be it volume of data, be it capacity, be it the compute power that you are going to use for running those models, a lot of them, right? So we'll try to see how the current auto AI thing mitigates all this. Then let's try to understand from a researcher's point of view or from a developer's point of view how this entire process conventionally works. Okay, let's say if I am to create a model, a machine learning model, right? So what I'll do is, the first thing I'll actually look to do is I'll try to figure out the correct data set that I'm looking to work on, right? whether it's a COVID-19 related some data set, or it's like a banking insurance related data set, or maybe uh, a feedback related data set from a banking, from some bank which is which is having some data around how the customers react to the online marketing campaigns or something like that, right? So in a nutshell, what we typically do is we try to figure out that model which is actually the best fit for the data set, right? And it basically requires a while before we are able to figure out that which is the right set of algorithms to be used. How do we use it? And once we are able to identify, we basically try to we now take it to deployment, right? We said, okay, fine, we are done. Now my model is doing pretty well, fine. The accuracy I'm getting is acceptable in a certain manner, and now it's fit for deployment, right? So that's where we typically deploy, and we try to make it ready, and then we talk, and then we see a drift, right? We see a drift for so many reasons, which is possible, right? In terms of model is not giving the type of responses it should be. It's not that appropriate for the when it's being subject to certain testing data or real-time data for that matter, and all, right? And once you get to know that, what happens is you actually go back to the drawing board and start working from the scratch, with again trying to work with the same data set with some new algorithm, trying to put in some more ensembling techniques, trying to find out a better way of tackling and building a machine learning model for that data set, right? So again, you go back to the entire cycle again, it starts up, right? So this is where auto AI really comes very handy, and it really helps in terms of getting some uh, uh, some respite for the people who are working in the domain, right? So auto AI typically provides for automation in a manner where you get all these machine learning algorithms embedded in the application, and you actually use it without actually writing a single line of code, right? So what you do is you provide your data set to the application, right? And your data set is being analyzed, and the service tries to analyze which is the right fit of machine learning algorithms, maybe 2, 3, and then it takes with those the machine learning model to various stages, and all of that actually happens automatically. So the point is, you don't have to worry about this. Not this much. A lot of the academic research also today is focusing on three major areas, right? One is around determining the best model for for selection of a machine learning model, right? So that you create that pipeline one, right? Second is second area could be actually finding the best architecture for a deep learning model, AI-based model, right? And third is, how do you actually find the best hyperparameters in terms of training the model, right? So these are again research areas as well, where there's a lot of academic research happening in these areas. So from IBM's point of view, the auto AI basically is deployed on top of Cloud Pack for data, and it uses Watson Studio. It's an automated machine learning tool, which actually does things in minutes, which typically would take days and months for a conventional machine learning engineer to do. This entire process actually includes data preparation, model development, feature engineering, and hyperparameter optimization, all of that done by the services, right? So we will just go and we'll take a deep dive into it in a while, right? But just to understand the overall perspective, how does this process works is, what you provide is a structured, DB or a file to the service, right? And the service actually works on a detection of features. It actually works on the missing value imputations in a certain way. It actually works on feature encoding and finding the scaling mechanisms for that. Once it does that, once it's identified the top 2, 3 machine learning algorithms, it basically generates pipeline for that, right? We'll see that, right? So what I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to take you through my browser, and we will see all of this happening there, right? So we'll upload a CSV file there. We'll let the service do what we are talking about, and we'll then see it. Okay, so let me quickly flip back to my browser. Guys, I'm right now on IBM Cloud, and this is the catalog, which features 350 plus services across different categories. Okay. So the services available here across are in different categories like storage, compute, machine learning, analytics, IoT, integration, security, mobility, depending upon your area, whatever you are. Today we are focused on AI. And if you see there, there is a good mix of 15 services available in this, right? Wherein you have a Watson Assistant, you have a Watson Studio, you have Knowledge Studio, you have natural language classifier, machine learning service, and many of these. But for the discussion today, I'm going to focus on one, which is Watson Studio. So it actually uses the Watson machine learning as well, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to look for an existing instance of Watson Studio. In case you're looking to replicate with me, you can create a new instance of Watson Studio and we can go together with this. Instance of Watson Studio, I'm already having 2 instances running. So this is the search bar where I can look for my existing services. So if you see there are 2 service instances running over here. I'll just click one of these instances there. Okay. Okay. So once I basically click on get it started, this is where I land, right? So I basically land on the service, which is IBM Cloud Pack for Data, right? Which typically is end-to-end enterprise grade, AI model lifecycle management platform. We also call it as model ops, right? It helps organizations to, improve the overall throughput of data science activities. It's like getting faster time to value, right? So if I have to take the model development and the other process is taking 1 month for me, with this, it will actually considerably reduce, right? Not just this much, Cloud Pack for Data actually has a lot of key capabilities, including, the complete ETL. You'll get a extract, transform, and load operations capability, which are enabled for multi-cloud architecture, right? And as I already talked about data ops, right, where you have data governance, you have quality, and you have put compliance requirements embedded into it. And then there are multiple, more things about it, which we'll not touch right now because that will take a lot of, time today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my projects here, and I'm going to quickly create a new project, right? So I'm doing this in case someone of you is looking to replicate, it will be easy for you to follow. So let me create an empty project. I can create from a sample project or a file from a file as well. Let's say this project's name is nptel, and it's by default picking up a storage, which is a object storage for me. I'm already having an instance of object storage running from me. In case you are doing it for the first time, you're running this for the first time, and you do not have an object storage instance, you might have to create one. So this will guide you to do that. In case you do not know, please do not worry. It will ask you to create a new one from here. Okay. So let's say I create this project here. Okay. So what is happening in the background is this is basically creating a new project for me under the IBM Cloud Pack for Data, and I can use a lot of components available as a part of the overall Cloud Pack, right? So let's see that. So if you see this UI, it's very easy to navigate through this. I can look to add my project various assets, including data, including a connection to a certain data source. It can be on some other cloud, let's say at the AWS. The data sources are residing on AWS or Google or some other places. You can connect that as well. We'll dig into this. You can import your notebook as well over here. You can create a dashboard without actually writing any code. You can add a visual recognition model from here to classify images. So you also can have a natural language classifier to classify textual content. Those of you who are into development of working on SPSS modelers, you can actually import a modular flow from here. You can create a deep learning experiment as well from here. You can have a deep decision optimization, which is based upon ILOC Cplex engines, right? So you can add all of those assets, under this hood, which is IBM Cloud Pack for Data. But today, let's focus on only one thing. Let's say I want to import a data, right? So let's say I have a couple of CSV files. Okay, so let me say this is a data set which is about banking customers, which are subjected to a marketing campaign, and you have to have the feedback from the customers whether they are interested in subscribing to a certain marketing campaign or not, whether they will be interested in that. So that's the thing there. I'm also going to actually upload one more data set here. Okay, let me just quickly get that. Okay, so let me just get this data set as well over here. So what I have done is I've uploaded the data over here. Okay, it's getting uploaded. So this data set is again about banking customers, which is like based upon his expenditure, his expense capabilities, whether a particular customer will be defaulting on the payments or not, like that, right? Okay, so this is my data set. Let's go and try to create an auto AI experiment from this. Okay, so here we are. By the way, there is actually a very exhaustive, strong gallery sample which can help you with a lot of data sets along with notebooks, pre-configured notebooks which you can use. It includes a same bank marketing sample data set. It also has a data set which is about predicting the temperatures for a particular city using univariate time series forecasting, because it supports time series as well. So there are multiple, gallery. There are samples available in the gallery as well, right? So let's say I am creating this new auto AI experiment. Now see this. Watson Studio under the hood uses Watson machine learning service instance, right? So in case you are running this for the first time, it will ask you to associate a Watson machine learning instance. For me, there is already a couple of machine learning service instances running. So what I'll do is I'll just simply associate one of those machine learning instances to this particular service, right? Okay, let me scroll down. I'll just say maybe I would like to add this there. So at the top I can see I can associate this service. Okay, once I've associated the service, I can reload it and my service will reflect over here. Now see this, it has the moment I created an auto AI experiment, by default it has given me 8 virtual CPUs and 32 GB RAM compute to run my application, right? I can go back and I can always change that, but then for now let me just work with the default settings, because that's the best way to understand a particular service or an application. So what I've done is I've created an auto AI experiment. I have given the data set to it, and yeah, I've just uploaded the data set. I haven't given it to the service yet. It's asking me, where is your data source, right? So what I can do is I can actually upload a CSV file over here, and the CSV file can be, if I'm actually using a single CSV file, this can be up to 1 GB, right? And in case I'm using data from multiple sources, I can even do that, right? So let me say I've already uploaded, so I can say select from a project. These are the various two data sets which are already uploaded. I'm just gonna do that. I can provide up to 20 data sets over here, with each data set up to less than 4 GB, right? So cumulatively, it could be 20 GB of data that I can provide to the service over here, right? So it's asking me, whether I would like to create a time series forecast based upon this data set. So no, and it's not a data for that. Then I don't want to do that. So it's understood my data. It's come back saying that there are 17 columns in this. The data set size is only 0.292 MB. As I said, it could actually, for a single data source, it can support up to 1 GB file, and if there are multiple up to 20, it's cumulatively around 20 GB, right? So here it basically populates the various columns there, and it is asking me what do you want to predict, right? So I had given it a marketing data set, which basically has inputs about various banking customers, their age, their job, their marital status, their education, what's the account balance, whether they're having whether they're having a loan or not, what's the contact details, what day and month, what time were they contacted, and so all of that actually is available here, right? So what I really want to do is I want to, let's say I want to predict on the deposits, right? Or maybe let me just try to change another data, and I would actually just take this fraud data set. Okay. Okay. We're just taking the data set right now as we talk, and say I want to do this. I'm just taking this away from here. It's asking me again, what do you want to project? See, this data set had information about dependence, the gender, whether the person is married or not, what's the income of the applicant, if, what's the loan amount in case they're bank customers, is there any credit history available for this customer and all, right? So what I'm looking to predict is whether this particular person is a fraud risk or not, okay? So the moment that I pick up one of these, the column on which I want to predict it, it comes back, the service comes back and tell me, look, this is suitable for a binary classification. Why? Because, the attribute here has yes or no values, right? Had it been multiple values, so I could have actually this could have come back with some different. So let me actually go back and change these experiment settings, right? So as I was telling, had there been multiple values for the attribute, it would have actually proposed me a multi-class classification or maybe a regression, right? Depending upon the data type, the data set which I've actually given to the service to analyze, right? But then let's see, this is completely customizable, right? If I want to override, no, I don't want to do a binary classification. I want to do maybe something else, right? A multi-class classification on this. I can do that, right? Since it's a binary classification, right? So we need to check that it's a positive class, right? I can choose which metric do I want to optimize or which metric I want to use as a measure for these experiments. Not only that, I can also actually select which algorithms do I want to select for using this. Now, what happens here is, when Auto AI typically works, what it does, it basically, figures out the top 2 algorithms, and I can always increase that. See, let me scroll down to the bottom. See, Auto AI by default will pick up the top 2 algorithms and it create 4 pipelines from those algorithms. But here I can increase those up to 4 as well, right? So it's completely customizable. So only thing is, the time to train this model will actually increase a bit, right? So let's say so if you see here, pipeline generated with 2 algorithms is 8, right? Whereas if I say I want to actually pick up the top 4 algorithms, then you see the pipeline generated is basically 18, right? So let's quickly go and let's say I basically select 3 pipelines, the 3 algorithms here, and I can, there are a couple of more settings which I can play with. I can enable to drop the duplicate rows in case there are any in my data set, right? So all of that data pre-processing is basically taken care of there, right? So typically what happens is most of the data sets contain different types of data formats and missing values, right? This is one area which takes a lot of time from a machine learning analyst point of view or an engineer's point of view, where you have to apply various algorithms or estimators. You have to analyze, you have to clean, you have to prepare your raw data for machine learning. This actually is a very big time-taking job. So all of that is being taken care of here. In case I'm using a text analysis thing, I can enable the use of text feature engineering, right? How many maximum number of factors per column? I can change the training versus the test data split or holdout data. If I don't want to use all the columns in my prediction value, let's say I don't think dependence is a good characteristic to basically try to predict something, or maybe whether a particular person is married or not, it should not be the reason for predicting something. It can be always possible, right? I can do all those customizations from here, right? So you see that, remember that the Watson machine learning service we got associated with this. I can change or I can fine tune the iterations here about how many iterations do I need for initial model tuning, feature engineering iterations. All of that is customizable, right? So let's say I'll save these current settings which I've just made and I want to run this experiment, right? Now, while I'm running this experiment, what is happening is at the back end, there is an automated model selection happening, as I said, right? Even before that, right? So as the service is running, it basically segregates the data which is available over here, right? As I was telling you, right? So it basically tries to segregate the data and trying to ingest that data set and creating a relationship map, and then it'll create those pipelines based upon those top three algorithms which we have asked the machine to do that, ask the service to do that, right? So what's happening, when it's doing that? So Auto AI uses a typical novel approach where it enables testing and ranking the candidate algorithms, whatever they are, right, against small subsets of data. What happens is when you use those small subsets of data, and you keep on gradually increasing that size of the subset so that you arrive at the best possible match or the most promising algorithm, which is giving you the due results, right? So this approach actually saves a lot of time, and it does not even sacrifices the performance for that matter. And in this process, it enables a ranking of large number as a candidate algorithm, and hence which is the best select or the best match for the data set that you have provided, right? So right now it's done that. If you see here, it's using a threefold, 90% of training data. It's selected those algorithms, right? That the one I was talking to you about. Yeah, it's right now working on creating of those pipelines, right? Yeah, we'll just see that exactly. It's happening right now, right? It's started working on it, right? And the first algorithm it's working on snap random forest classifier. Now see this, it's been able to achieve a 93.3% accuracy with this. And best part is I have not written a single line of code, right? This is the service which is actually doing all of this for me at the back end. That's the best part of it. Now, I saw a question there, somebody was asking me, will there be a boom in adoption of AI with services like Auto AI and all? Absolutely, yes. When this is basically making AI accessible to everybody. It's basically a concept of creating citizen data scientists where everybody can leverage AI in a certain manner to predict, create models, and create repeatable models, right? You can go back, keep on doing various iterations, with various data sets. You can try to figure out the best possible mechanism. And those of you who are actually doing research on ML, right, this can be a good baseline for you to, from where you can get started, right? So, if I am for the first time trying to understand which machine learning algorithm is the best suited for me to work on and get desired result, instead of running across all those 30, 40 machine learning algorithms, I can actually use the service, and the service can provide me with those top 2, 3, 4, machine learning algorithms which are the best fit for me. And those can actually be a baseline for me from which I can build upon and from which I can take my research further. Now see this, as it is actually doing all of this, in the background, I get this beautiful comparison of various pipelines across different parameters, right? Be it accuracy, be it area under ROC curve, the F1, the precision, the recall, all of those parameters across those various pipelines, which is its training, right? Now, from a research point of view or a researcher's point of view, I see this as a very beautiful chart, lovely information that I'm able to arrive at, which helps me in writing my papers with a lot of precision data about how the model is doing with a certain algorithm. This really provides me with a lot of flexibility, with a lot of meaningful content in terms of writing a great or a very good research paper. Okay. Now this is actually it's creating a pipeline, a leaderboard for me. Now let's see this. Okay, it's right now working on the 12th pipeline. It's almost done. See, within 2 minutes. 71 seconds, right? It's completed the entire thing. This is the leaderboard before me, which has all those 12 pipelines from these 3 machine learning algorithms, right? We have extra trees classifier, we have LGBM classifier, it used a snap random forest classifier, right? And then it basically did feature engineering on top of this and hyperparameter optimization as well, right? So those 3 models, which is basically it's getting created on top of each of these algorithms. You can see the amount of variation it has been able to get as a result, as an outcome, right? So right now it's this leaderboard is on accuracy. I can always go back and I can change it for based upon various parameters, right? Yeah, I can always go and change it. So right now the best possible accuracy that I'm getting over here is 93.7%, right? With extra trees classifier, right? Yeah. And now the best part is actually I get all these pipeline comparison, which I can click on each of the models to see what sort of data I was getting, what was the area under ROC curve, what are the various feature transformations which happened there, what's the feature importance, right? For example, here, this is the most important feature, right, while predicting this particular information that we had looked for. This is the confusion matrix that the service provides us with, right? You can see that all of that information is available to you at a, and that too without writing the code. That's a beautiful part. So I can get it started, with the service to create my own machine learning models in maybe 10 minutes, right? I did not take more than that in terms of, uploading the data and creating all of this. Now, the best part is yet to come. The best part is whatever is being provided by the service, I can export that as a model. I can have that as a notebook, and this is actually independent of the platform. I can download the notebook. I can run it into some other compatible platform. There is no vendor lock in here as such, right? So all of that is available. So let's say if I want to deploy, the outcome which I have recently got, I can deploy that as a model here, and then I can publish this model as a web service, right? And this model I can quote in my research paper, for other researchers to use or test it against. This thing, my model can actually be used as a benchmarking platform as well, where other people can come with their data set or their data and test it against my trained model, right? So what I can do is I can deploy this model, okay, and I can do either a batch deployment or online. So depending upon how I want to use it. So let me quickly say I want to create a new space. I'll create a new deployment space just to give a view like how easy it is to deploy a model. So let's say you are starting for the very first time and you are looking to deploy one of these models that you have created. I'll go back to the notebook part as well, right? So those of you are interested. So let me quickly create this. It's creating a deployment space for me where it will host the model, and then I can test it, with a whatever sample data set, or I can actually pass on a JSON code into that model in order to check the results, right? So I can do either of the two things. But since this is getting prepared, I'll quickly go back, and I will look to. Okay, it's done. So let me just quickly close it. I'll say, and I say promote. Okay, in the meanwhile, I'll just take one more question, which was there, how do I need a domain knowledge when I work with AI for AI, or if I can use AI for AI? And that's the best part, right? From a data scientist point of view, you need to know so many things. You need to know statistics, you need to know machine learning, you need to know, you need to know coding, you need to be very good with the statistics. And then there's so many things that you need to really be, good with. But this approach really helps you in, getting started very quickly with minimal skill set. And to see, it's actually asking me, where is the machine learning service which is associated with this space. So I will go to my manage here, and I will associate an existing machine learning instance, to this. It's a drop down. I'll just quickly give it to this, and then I'll go back to my, and I say deploy. It's asking me what sort of deployment do you want? Do you want an online one, or you want to batch one? So I can do either. But then let's say I want an online deployment name, and I'll just give it some name. I'm just giving for the sake of, since we are working here, I'll give it NPTEL here, and yeah. Let me quickly check in the deployments if it is already deployed yet. Okay, not yet. As I'm on a slow network, so it looks it's taking a while for me. Okay, it's deployed, right? I was not able to see that. Let me quickly access that. Yeah. It's so easy actually. See this? Yeah, this is, there it is, right? Let me click on this, and here I can pass on, the data in order, whatever I want to check, the data I want to test against this model. Now think of this has been published as a web service, and you can put this in as a, in form of outcome in your research paper where others can go and leverage your model, right? So this can be even in that form as well, right? It's still loading for me. Yeah, of course, it's there, right? So it's these are the various code snippets you can actually include in whatever you're working with, whether you're working with a Python program or you're using use a curl. And here is, I can put all these value against which I'm looking to test it. Okay. Now I just need to pass on the various parameters, and then I can simply predict. So now let me go back to my the model which I was working on, right? The project was NPTEL. And now we will work on the other piece of it, the notebook part of it. Let's quickly go back and see the model that we had built in. Okay, this was my auto AI experiment. Okay, it's coming up for me now. As I was telling you, I can also publish this as a notebook, right? So see this, I'll simply go and create it. Now, the best part is, this notebook will comprise the entire code which the service has generated for me, including various libraries from sklearn or even others which I need to import. You'll just see all of that in a while here, right? Yeah, so it's a completely annotated notebook which gives me, how do I do all of it, right? So these are the various libraries which I need to install. This is the basically how do I create that metadata, or how do I create those transformers, those, this is where I basically create my pipeline. I split the data, train and test data split, right? So you see all of that is basically generated by the service. This is how I, those code, just the pre-processing and creating of estimators here, right? If I scroll down further, right, this is where it is. Yeah, right. This is the model, right? So all of this actually, I can download this and I can even execute it right here. It's always possible. I can run my Jupyter notebook in this environment under Watson Studio, or I can download my Jupyter notebook. I can run it on a local machine, in a compatible environment, whatever, right? So depending upon how do you want to do that. So that's the best part. It's entirely flexible, and absolutely there is no vendor lock-in, as I earlier told you, right? So let me quickly take a couple of questions till this time my this notebook is coming up for you. Okay, a very good question I have for you, Alan. I'll take it in a while before I show this service outcome to you. Then my notebook is still coming up. Yeah, I can actually run it right here. I can change the kernel. Right now it supports Python 3.7. I can export this and I can run it elsewhere also, right? And by the way, this is only one service that I have used among all those various things which I had shown, right? So I could add various types of assets to my project, right? So let me again show you that view. And I only used Auto AI as one service under that. A lot of these which are available over there. Yeah, see this? We played only with one small service, Auto AI, and that too, it's just a fragment of it, right? And then we can have so many more. We can have a deep learning experiment. We can run from here, and so many more, right? Now, those of you who would actually like to get a hands-on of this, right? The most easiest way to do it, IBM has a offering called IBM Academic Initiative. Now, this is a platform particularly aimed for academia, people who are from academic institutions, faculties, students, who are working or part of any institution. This platform can be a one learning stop for various technologies, including cloud, data science, security, quantum, blockchain, artificial intelligence, power systems, so many things, right? Let's say today we were talking about data science or AI, right? Now, how does it help? Let me actually click on AI for that matter, right? So we're talking about it. So this platform, what it does, it provides with various things from a learner's point of view, right? There are multiple resources which are available. You can download various data sets under ODL. There is a data asset exchange library available over here. You can download no charge software from here, right? These are all licensed software which you can download, like Watson Studio or Spaces Modeler, or Maximo. You can even have those kits available for downloadable for AI fairness, AI explainability, and all. Not just that, there are various courseware which you can, get started. You want to learn and you can get started with, which lead you with digital badges. So the moment you complete a certain course over here, let's say this one, it leads to a digital badge which you get, and it's a self-learning course for 3.5 hours, right? Let's say if you're looking to leverage data science, they're just for the sake of explanation here. So see, this is the data asset exchange, which provides you with access to a lot of data sets under ODL. You can download those. Then again, I was talking to you about the various software, including iLog, Cplex, Watson Studio, Cognos, Spaces Modeler. All of that are available at no charge. And these are all licensed version, enterprise grade software, guys, which you can make use of. And then, of course, badges and courseware. All that you need to do is you need to register on this portal using your institutional email ID, right? Any college institutional email ID that has been given to you. So let's say if my institutional email ID is money@mnit.ac.in, the moment I click it, the institution name automatically pops up for me, right? So, and I can quickly register here in less than a minute, whether I'm as a faculty or a staff or a student, right? Depending upon whatever I am, I can actually, register here. I can choose the nearest, the department or the nearest qualification which matches to me. And, I can quickly register by accepting the terms and conditions over here. The moment I do that, I get access to the entire download of all these softwares, courseware, which can be leveraged in so many ways, right? So somebody who wants to leverage this AI service, the best possible way is go to Academic Initiative portal under Cloud. You get access to IBM Cloud completely free here, from here. Not just this much, you also get a cloud feature code which enhances your account, to enhance capabilities on the cloud account, right? And that way you can leverage this. This account does not exhaust. There is no need to enroll a card on this platform. You can always, as long as you're a part of, you have a academic institutional email ID, you can come to this platform and leverage the services available here. Once you have done this, you can come back to IBM Cloud, you can create a Watson Studio service, and then you can play around with data. There are a lot of ready to use data sets, notebooks available in the gallery, which will help you get started with this. And there are a lot of resources on Academic Initiative platform as well, where you can get started and start learning with this. With this, what I'll do is I'll stop sharing here, and I'll try to take your questions. In case there are any further questions, feel free to put it on the link that you have, the Google form. I'll take those questions from here and try to answer those now. Okay. Let me quickly try to scroll through the lot of questions here. I'll just try to pick as much as possible from here. Give me a bit of time. I'll just scroll through these. So somebody is asking, do I need to be a domain expert to solve problems? No, you do not need to be a domain expert if you're getting started with services like Auto AI and all. How do you actually? Somebody is asking, how do I actually enhance my career? With this. So once you learn a particular technology, right, the best way to showcase your learning is through digital badges, right? So once you have completed your learning, that learning should be complemented by getting digital badges. You can actually get no charge digital badges from IBM Academic Initiative portal in the area of data science, in the area of AI, in the area of cloud, cybersecurity. You can get all these badges there, right? That will really help you get visibility that you have, that you have, you know, that you have actually achieved some learning capability on a particular technology. So that will really help you. Will there be a full course on AI with AI? It can be. Please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I can help you with more details about it, how we can do that. Okay, I'm getting another question which basically says, what are the very essential skills to get into this domain, right? So ideally, you should be familiar with the machine learning algorithms. You should have a background of statistics. You should understand probability. You should be able to work with coding, if not more, but then Python or R, one of these platforms you should be familiar with. That is good enough to actually get you started, right? How to use AI in sports. Awesome. We are already using all these dashboards, all those recommendations, all those charts that you see while there is a television telecast happening of either a cricket match or some other matches. Those are all fueled by AI, right? Basically, they all take the data of previous years of the performance of a particular sport person, and based upon that, they predict, how he is going to do further, or what sort of performance he gives. So all of that actually uses AI underneath probably, right? Okay, best research topic. There are so many, right? So I basically told that there is a lot of research happening in terms of, how do you automatically determine the best model, because there's so many machine learning models, right? How can you automate that thing, right? Similarly, how can you actually automate a hyperparameter tuning, or which is the best hyperparameter to actually work on for model training, right? So you can automate all that. So all of these are actually very good research areas, which you can look to target. Okay, there is a question around, well, ML is always a subset of this, right? So, the bigger, broader picture is all about AI, and then you talk about machine learning, you talk about deep learning, you talk about all of these. There is a question about whether the auto AI provides most optimized solution. Yes, it does provides the most optimized solution. Okay, how we can do that? There is a very good approach to do it. You can actually mix, the two approaches: doing it manually and then, bringing in the auto ML, auto AI picture in the scene, right? That particular approach gives even better results, right? So even that's a possible thing. I'll just cover that in a while, because this is a very good question and I'd like to answer that. Somebody is asking, is there a Python SDK to customize auto AI? Absolutely, there is a Python SDK, way which you can use to customize. You don't need to actually go to this UI. You can simply use the SDK in order to, do what you want to do. Is the model explainable? Of course it is. That's the best part, right? So, there is something called as Watson Open Scale, right, which helps you provide the entire governance and the explainability part to the AI models that we're talking about, right? Guys, in case you want to reach out to me, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll be more than happy to connect and help you with your queries in case you want to do that. Okay, there is a question about, is this service available for free? This service is available for free, particularly for audience from academia, academic institutions, faculty members, researchers. You can always go to Academic Initiative website and you can register there and gain access to IBM Cloud and other technologies, and you can download the softwares at no charge as well, the licensed software there as well. Will auto AI replace the function? No, it will complement the capabilities and will actually lead to a shorter go-to-market time. Guys, we really need to understand how these services are helpful, right? Let's say I have a brilliant idea and I want to, let's say a startup idea, okay? I want to create an application for, let's say, which is the best, let's say I want to create a platform for comparing various groceries available on different platforms, right? GeoMart is there, Amazon is there, Flipkart also has a grocery. Which one is the best one, right? I want to create a marketplace for comparing all of these. Now, and now this I think is a very good idea, but then how do I test this idea, right? The best way to test this idea is create a prototype. And how do I create a quick prototype? I can always go to and use services like services on cloud, services using IBM Watson or Auto AI, and I can quickly go to market with this prototype, or maybe MVP, right? The minimal viable product, which I can go to market, or maybe I can take it to my investors to show the value of it. Now, had I used a conventional approach of doing this, this would have taken me months altogether, and I would have lost on the time that is really crucial for me to go to market, right? So it's not going to replace, but then it's going to complement the capabilities of data scientists or machine learning engineers and all. Will the result of these AI systems be the same when I train it myself? Very good question. They are bound to be different, and as I said earlier, right, there can be a case where if you use combination of two, you can even get a better results with these services. Can we create a hybrid? Of course, you can create and you can use that. You can always import your Jupyter notebooks here, on which you can program the way you want to create a hybridization of a particular algorithm. You want to add certain ensembling techniques onto it to enhance your outcome. You can do all of that here. Somebody's asking how to learn AI, ML, deep learning. IBM Academic Initiative is a great resource, in case you can go and you can start learning from there. Absolutely free. There are no charges there to it. How much time? This is the most time-taking process when we do the pre-processing for a data set, right? All those, data imputation and encoding, whether you're using sklearn to do that imputation or whatever, right? It actually takes a lot of time. You do all those labeling. You can even do a hyperparameter optimization to optimize the imputation encoding. Actually, for a particular estimator, all of that takes a lot of time. Almost 80% of the time is for a data scientist gets into this. So you can just imagine how much time-taking process is this, and hence it's really imperative that we automate these steps, right? Somebody is asking, can a physics graduate become a data scientist? Absolutely. Physics, mathematics do provide the backbone for learning. All these technologies, particularly machine learning. You can use statistics. You can use your mathematical prowess to actually enhance your capabilities there. AI is, of course, used in information security domain big time. Any blog? Of course, there are a lot of blogs in case you will go. Somebody who is a mechanical or a civil engineer with no experience in coding, absolutely yes. If you can see that we did not write a single line of code in the session today, and we were able to do our exercises today, right? There are a few more questions, guys. I'm quickly going to refresh this page. Let me just see. If somebody wants to get it started, as I said, Academic Initiative portal is a good platform to get it started learning. There are a lot of no charge courseware available. There are no charge digital badges available, which you can use in order to enhance your capabilities or get skills, hands-on skills. Since you get access to software, it really helps in gaining hands-on skills there. Cloud is actually an enabler. I would say cloud is an enabler, whether you talk about IoT or you talk about AI or blockchain or any technology. Cloud is more like an umbrella, right? And all of these technologies typically plug onto there. How much RAM support is provided on this platform? Absolutely a good question, right? So typically the light account that you get, which is absolutely free, is good enough to work. But as I told you earlier, the Academic Initiative platform, using that, you can use a promo code, which can enhance the RAM support for your account. And this is only available to people in academia, students and faculty members. It is not open to everyone. So you need to have an institutional email ID to register and then enhance your RAM support there. Okay. Guys, I guess I will stop here because we are running out of time. Okay, one last question. Okay, most of the services on IBM Cloud are actually free, right? So the light plan of the services is absolutely free, and there is no time frame attached to that, right? As long as you have your institutional email ID to access IBM Cloud or IBM Academic Initiative, all the services, all the software that you actually will find there are available at no charge to you. You do not have to actually pay for these. So you can really, make use of that. So thank you. It was a pleasure joining you today. Thank you for this time that you have, come forward for this session. Thanks a lot. Back to you, team.